Hola, aunties. Este es Edgar desde Puerto Rico. ¿Qué está pasando hoy?
Ask your aunties, Slut Acceptability.
Protest in Iran.
And 2010s, our memories. So get your cups ready for Minoritea Report.
Hey, aunties. How y'all doing today?
Hey, y'all.
Woo. Still shaking off this itis after Thanksgiving. But I'm doing well. Yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I was sick before Thanksgiving, so I had to make some room for the weight that I had to gain, to make room. So, playing that just on time.
Right.
I don't know about y'all, but I've just kind of, I don't want to say given up because that's not really what it is, but I've just given in to whatever this body is going to do between now and the end of the year.
Body you in.
Oh, Vulcan season. Girl, you good. She's like,
Exactly, that's all that is.
Yeah,
Wet pants are the only thing that fits right now.
I was telling Adam the only pants that I want to wear are ones that have elastic waistbands from now until the end of the year.
Oh, I feel that's a whole move. That's a whole, but that's a slippery slope for me though, because I'm a boredom eater. So when I'm bored, I just snack and I eat. So I have to make sure I stay busy, or I'm gonna blow up. and about a year ago this time, I was almost 230. So it was she was not cute.
They would have to cut you out of your apartment.
I'm gonna blow up like that. I'm gonna blow up like that little girl from the Willy Wonka. I'm gonna blow up like her.
Right.
Violet, you're turning violet.
Yeah, I'm an out of sight, out of mind eater. If it's there, I'm going to eat it. But if it's not there, I don't think about stuff. I rarely have cravings for food. I like food, but it's one of those things people always ask me, or Corey always asks me all the time, what do you want to eat? I'm like, I don't know. I don't honestly care too much. But once I see options, then I'm like, ooh, that does sound good. Ooh, that sounds good. Ooh, I'll take a little bit of this, So I try not to buy chips. I try not to buy stuff because if it's there, I know I'm going to eat it. But if I don't have it, I'm not craving it too much. So
I'm pretty good about that stuff. I kind of eat very little bits, but a lot throughout the day. And the only thing that I can't keep in the house is cereal. If cereal is in the house, it's gone.
You're smashing it.
It's gone. In a day.
What's your favorite cereal?
It changes.
All the above.
It changes. I like some that are more healthy. I love Raisin Bran. Kellogg's Raisin Bran. I do not like Post Raisin Bran because Post Raisin Bran is disgusting.
I wouldn't keep that in my house either.
But the Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Meaning I ain't buying it.
But you know what? Now that I think about it, it's really that cereal really isn't that healthy. That cereal is more it's more sugary because I like it's not Post. Kellogg's is the one that has the sugared raisins in them.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I know that one.
The Post one has the plump raisins. You bite into them, it's like biting into an eyeball, and I don't like that. But the plainest cereal that I like is probably oatmeal. It's not real cereal, like cold cereal, but I like plain oatmeal, no cinnamon, no sugar, no butter. I just want it in, just steel cut oats and milk, almond milk or water, and that's it.
That's it. Oh, okay. You're weird. Looking at you
in the words of Dewan, you like it, I love it. Okay,
right. You like it, I love it. All the oats are for you, boo.
Right. But it's so funny because if I go out to breakfast with friends or brunch and I see oatmeal on the menu, I'm getting oatmeal, and I tell them don't put anything in it. It's so wild, but I've been to enough places so much that they just have oatmeal almost kind of like a placeholder. When I order, they're like, oh, we don't have that today. I'm like, but you had all this time to tell me that you didn't have this on the menu. And it's usually because people never order it. So they don't even bother making it. But except me, I'm the only one that asked for it.
Nope,
I ain't had cereal in forever, but I love all the ghetto off-brand ones. You grew up with the bag, the little 5-pound bag. Shoot,
Like the Fruity
Like
Oats.
the Fruit Hoops. It's not Fruit Loops, it's Fruit Hoops.
Chill. Y'all know where I come from. That's how we eat our cereal. Chill. We buy that in bulk. We don't want no box. You put it in a bag so you can fit all of it in your cupboard above your refrigerator, because that's where the cereal go.
Right. Do you ever mix your cereals?
Oh, no. No, ma'am.
Oh, so you're a purist.
Sometimes.
I'm a purist. You know this. I say this all the time. Come on now.
See, it's black or white.
I like mixing like the various of Cheerios, like apple cinnamon with honey nut Cheerios, or the multigrain Cheerios with apple cinnamon Cheerios. It's delicious.
Really?
Or what's really good is Frosted Flakes and Corn Pops together. Woo!
Oh, I love me some corn pops.
Yeah.
Oh, corn pops.
Delicious.
Yeah, I can get with that. I can get with that.
See, now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh, that does sound good. Like, cereal wasn't even on my brain at all.
See,
I'm
my
like, okay,
favorite one was Honey Crisp with the little brown ones.
Oh, yes.
I used to love me some
Yes.
Honey Crisp.
Those were good.
Those were good.
Mm.
Well, good morning, y'all. On this Monday morning,
morning.
while y'all listening, I hope y'all stop
Community.
somewhere and get y'all some cereal somewhere.
Right.
Your local Target, your Safeway, your CVS, your QVC, you know.
QVC.
QFC, excuse me.
I'm like sitting here like when you said Honey Crisp, it gave me like a memory flashback of like watching Nickelodeon as a kid and like eating Honey Crisp and watching Doug. Do you remember that
Is it
cartoon?
Honey Crisp or Honeycomb?
Honeycomb.
Honeycomb.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
That's what I was
Oh,
thinking
no,
of
I was
too.
thinking Honey Crisp because they're the small little brown ones. They almost look like nuts almost.
They're almost like sugar smacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, that's really sugary.
Yeah.
That's the one that like the milk gets so sweet afterwards. And then they have like those little like, it's almost like corn kernel like covers, you know, that get stuck in your teeth.
Yeah.
That's probably why I don't like sweets anymore, because I ate all the sugary cereal. Like I ate all the candy and all that stuff as a kid. And my body was just like, you good. For life. You don't need no more.
Do you drink the milk out the bowl at the
Hell
end?
yes,
Like,
you know you did.
I'm not a
Mhm.
big milk person as it is. Like I could eat cereal dry and be completely
Wait,
happy.
did y'all ever have the bowl that had the straw with it as a kid? So all you had to do was just like tilt your bowl and it had the straw in the end? Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Okay, like, yeah, I'm from the hood. So we had all sorts of like ring-a-ding type shit. Yes, I'm swearing
I've
this is
never
a
heard of that in
thing.
my life.
They used to
Never
have like
in my
the little,
life.
they used to have like the little kid plastic bowls, so that way instead of, because you know kids would spill their milk all the time trying to drink the milk out of their cereal, so they had a small little straw that was attached to the end to the side of the bowl, and so once you were done, you can just sip your milk through the straw. And you didn't have to worry about spilling it.
I've never heard of that.
Community, have you heard that? Community, let us know.
Look, don't play me. Don't play
I need to
me.
Google this.
It's,
Your
it's for
mama,
us young folks.
just taped a straw
It's
to the
skip
end of your
generation.
bowl.
It's for us younger folks.
Right. It's like, I don't know that one. But
The only milk that I drank after the cereal was the milk after eating Cocoa Krispies. That was the only milk that I liked.
Oh, because it was like chocolate milk after
The
that
chocolate
point.
milk. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like all the other cereals, it was too sweet for me. I didn't like it.
no, I'm not a big milk person. I've never been a big milk person at all. I've never just drank a glass of milk. I think it's kind of almost nasty in a way.
Yeah.
Cereal kind of almost masks the flavor of milk for me.
Yeah,
So-
I used to drink a glass of milk before bed, a warm glass of milk before bed as a kid all the time because I could not
Yeah.
sleep.
Okay, Waltons.
Hmm
Did it work?
It did. It absolutely worked.
Interesting.
Yep.
I never did that at all. The only time we had milk was like if it was being baked into something or it was for cereal. That was it.
Yeah.
Every once in a
But
while we would do
let me tell
like
you-
like the quick, you know, the strawberry or the
Nestle
chocolate
Quick.
quick
Right.
or whatever.
Nestle
But
Quick.
that was like a
Mhm.
very sometimes thing. We never really.
Corey still loves that. Corey will still buy Nesquik to put in milk.
Yeah. I would do
Really?
that. I do that sometimes too. I do the strawberry one sometimes too. But I mean, like, there was times we were so poor that we would have to buy powdered milk. Like, yeah,
And
because
then
we couldn't
mix it
afford
with
real
water.
milk. Yep, you had to mix it with water.
Hmm.
The struggle.
Look at God. He done brought you through, though.
Right now.
Boom. I know that's right.
I made it now.
Yes, Jesus. And before we get too far, thank you, Edgar. Poppy,
yes.
for that opening.
Come on with that opening.
Yes.
Bilingual. Like,
a little Espanol. Okay. Come on now.
Right.
She had to represent.
Bothered in the morning.
She had to represent for the homeland. Thank you, boo.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did y'all watch the AMAs last week?
Ooh. Yeah.
I did.
You know what? The number one thing I'm mad about, I am absolutely upset about, is that no one is dragging Selena Gomez. She opened it and she was so bad. At least I didn't see.
It was so terrible.
It was so
awful.
bad. But everyone's talking about Toni Braxton, which they should. Mm-hmm, and they talking about Taylor and Lizzo, which rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But she need to be dragged.
She needed to, and she quote unquote opened the show.
Yeah.
I saw a couple of people on Twitter dragging her. They're like I saw someone that says, and it was literally like 10 minutes to the show, and I think I retweeted it on Minority Report. So if you're not following us on Twitter, follow us on Twitter at MTTEA Report. Someone said the top performances of the show so far. Number 1 was Ciara.
Yes.
Number 2 was like the person flushing the toilet backstage. Number 3 was like the sound man. Number 4, Selena Gomez.
Oh my
damn!
I'm so done.
Oh, come on, that's so bad, but it was so funny. It was true.
I mean,
it was painful. It was actually painful to watch because I was just looking at. I wasn't even paying attention to like her singing because I think most of it was like, like on a track, but like just her choreography. Well, notice I
it
said
should have been the whole thing should have been on it.
It's like if that was on the track, then whoever makes
throw
that,
the whole
they
track
need
away.
to get their money back,
right?
But she was so stiff, and her dancers were so stiff.
This is what I don't understand about Selena Gomez. How is she like the most followed on like Instagram and everything? Like, who's buying her records? Like, who's following her like this?
I will say this: her albums are not bad, but
really,
the thing is,
have not listened to a single one.
After seeing this performance, I now understand that she's paying people. She has the right people in the studio making her album sound good because it ain't her. It ain't her. It ain't her God-given talent because we saw
maybe
that.
It's Ashanti.
I don't know.
Look, she ruined the whole damn song. I actually did not mind the song. Like, I actually
the song is cute.
It's real cute. But when you listen to her,
it's a great line that I had to hate you to love me. That's a great line.
It really is.
Great line.
But girl,
however,
not out your mouth. No, and she couldn't dance. It was so funny. Physical was like,
right? She couldn't. Did you say?
Wait, she brought her hands above her head. She said,
"Bitch,
shake, shake, turn."
I was like, Selena.
Britney Spears did more than that. And like her comeback and her quote unquote comeback.
Oh my God. That's what it looked like. It looked like when Britney came back.
Give me more.
Yes.
More. That's what it
That's what it looked like with her dancing.
But at least Britney hit her marks.
It was worse than that.
She might have been slow, but she hit the marks.
Man.
The thing is, like, I don't want to pick on her too bad because like she's had health issues and she seems very nice. She's gorgeous, et cetera, et cetera. But dancing is not her ministry. And singing.
Not her ministry.
Singing is borderline ministry too. Like,
you know what made it worse though is that by comparison, then you have Ciara come out. She gets come down on that little hoop, and then
Melanie,
and then just threw the whole, like literally tore the whole stage up. Like she got the party started. It was like. The Selena piece.
The thing is, like, Ciara's not the best singer either.
No, she's not.
However, like,
however,
she killed it still. Like, she entertained. She like gave it her all. Yeah. And so that's like the difference of two people that can't really sing. Ciara just killed it because she was way more entertaining. She hit her mark. She was killing the dancing. And then Selena, bless her heart,
she was on stage playing with Barbie dolls. Like,
well, let me
come
tell
on,
you,
sis, get out of here.
Just doing. The most and nothing at the same time.
It's like, how you doing the most
and nothing,
but nothing at the same time?
Like, damn. But you know who else who upset me too? Post Malone.
Okay.
You know, it's so funny. Like, I'm not a Post Malone fan, but there's something about his energy throughout that whole show that I was like, you know what? I want to party with you because you was having a good ass time out there.
He was
in the stands and everything.
But you, like I said before on another episode, he just looked like his dick stank. Like, you know, you look like he just look like he don't wash his legs. You know, like he's just, the struggle is too real. And the fact that he won Best Rap Album too.
That I could not understand at all.
I was like, are you effing me right now?
We talked about the gentrification of R&B in the episode, gentrification of rap.
Man, I was so livid. Like the disrespect. That was so disrespect. And then he performed shortly after and it was like, where's the rap? Circles, what's this auto-tune? I can't sing. What the hell? And then that motherfucker spit on stage too. I said, oh no home training. No.
It made me question. Like I legit had to question myself. Like, do I have a bias specifically against Post Malone because I feel a ways that he got this award? Which, let's call a spade a spade. The AMAs is bullshit. I mean, it's not like, this isn't like an award that's like, you know, like...
No, the AMAs are probably more legit than a lot of them.
They're fan-based.
And people hate the Grammys. Well, it's a fan base.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you got a shit ton of fans, you're going to win it.
Right. So in other words, it's not about talent. It's not about talent.
It's not.
It's about popularity.
Neither are the Grammys, honestly, because the Grammys are run by like old white men, honestly. So I mean, it's just like
the world
it's hard with a lot of these award shows to find a happy medium. Because, okay, if you give it completely to the fans, you're going to get more of the Taylors and the Post Malones. It is just the marketing of it.
But it also depends on who, it also depends, like with the AMAs, it also depends on who your market is. So, like, that would be be like, okay, let's just put a whole bunch of artists in here for rap, and you put the article that you vote on in, like, Teen Vogue. Well, who are the people that are buying Teen Vogue? Because then you lose.
But I mean, it's the ebbs and flows over time. Because Whitney won a bunch. It's whoever's popular at the time, honestly. Whitney won a bunch of AMAs. Janet won a bunch of AMAs. It's just whoever's popping at the time. So who's ever marketed the best.
So Post Malone was popping at the time?
Post Malone has sold a shit ton of records.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with Post Malone. This is, I forget, someone sent me an article, too, about this. And it talks about, like, it talks about rap and how most people, a lot of people buying rap music and going to rap concerts are white people.
Are white
people. You know, and so that's it helps Post Malone in his situation as far as like having the fans and getting awards like this, whatever the case is. But that has nothing to do with the talent. You know, and it just bothers me when you see someone win an award for something that should be based off of talent, and it lacks. You know, I'm just like, it's like watching Taylor Swift get an award. I will say, hold on. For about like 60 seconds when they were doing that speak up about her, I was like, ooh, I feel so bad for not liking her. I feel so bad. They're like, oh, she's done this. She fights for this. She fights for this. And I was like,
it's like she's gotten a lot better about her activism. Which
I was like, wow.
That's why
I was like, you know what? I feel
there's
bad
just something
for not
about her
liking
that just rubs me the wrong way. I just can't get over it.
Sure.
But then
I tolerate her way better now than I used to.
Then one word came out of her mouth, and I was like, ooh, I still want to punch her. I was just like, still don't like her.
Oh,
don't like her.
Bunch of people.
Still don't like her.
And then she had the nerve to wear that Gone with the Wind gown. That was like, it was like this weird concoction of like a cape, but it was all like bejeweled and gold. And I'm just like, just go somewhere.
Yeah, I tolerate her way better now because now she's actually speaking up and utilizing her platform a lot more than she did before. So I'm like, it is what it is. I don't got to like everybody.
Right,
stuff,
true.
So
I like her as a person. I don't like her as an artist.
Yeah.
You know?
I liked
I don't like either.
Blank Space. I didn't mind that song. When she sang that, I was like, okay. And I'll write your name. Oh, Lord.
I'll put her in a category with Ryan Murphy for
Lizzo
me.
Killed it.
Oh,
say again?
She in the Ryan Murphy category for her.
Oh, she blame it on Ryan Murphy.
Get out.
Blame it on Taylor Swift.
She's locked in a down under for me as far as I'm concerned.
That's a forever list. That's a hashtag never let it go list. It's just,
exactly.
There is no redemption.
DM us your favorite like hashtag that we say on this show because we got a few. We want to make a little end of the year list or something like that for those two, because there's quite a few over time that you guys DM us or hit us up and like hashtag never let it go, hashtag blame Ryan Murphy,
hashtag
I feel like I don't have a hashtag yet.
Right. Yeah, we need to get you a hashtag.
I'll get there.
There's
one
4
day.
weeks left. We can figure it out before 2019.
Exactly.
But before we move from AMAs, I do have to say, Toni the motherfucking Braxton.
She's so pretty. Like, she's so pretty to me. She's aged so well.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell for a while if she was lip syncing or not, but that's okay. It happens.
I feel like she was lip syncing.
I thought she was really singing because when she went to hit that note, you didn't hear the note until she brought the microphone back to her.
Right.
I think there was maybe some assistance of a track. But
I don't think
was.
it seemed a little
In the very beginning. I feel like she sang towards the end.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it does
but there
seem
was
like
definitely some real Toni in there. But
it does seem like a lot of the performers nowadays will like lip sync through the majority of their song in the very beginning, and then at the very end they'll throw like their own little personal ad libs on top of the track or whatever to like give it some extra. So I feel like most of her performance was mostly a track, and then like towards the end she's like giving us like the couple of pieces that we really needed.
That we wanted.
Yes.
Yeah, Toni killed it. Lizzo killed it. I'm trying to think who else. They still forced a Camilla on you, Drill.
Look, I was like, if I see this bitch on stage one more time, and the fact that you know the person she's a beard for, Shawn Mendes, swerved her when they won the award for best collaboration. She went to kiss him. And he was like, "Oh, just come on the stage."
I'm 22.
I was like, "Oh no, oh no!" You can tell he was irritated. Like, and then she thanked his mom for him too. I was like, no, that should have been his moment to thank his mom and say, "Hey, mom," and all the rest of that stuff. But yeah, I was talking to her.
I did think that Shania Twain did an amazing job. Like when she came out and like did like "That Don't Impress Me Much" and like, you know, like "Feels Like a Woman." I was just like, okay. And I was looking around.
She did what she was supposed to do. Like, she didn't overdo it. Nope. She didn't underdo it.
Exactly.
Like, she did what she was supposed to do and what she was supposed to sound like. Because she's not the best
cute.
singer on earth.
And it was nostalgic.
Like, exactly.
It would have been like if the Spice Girls came out there and did, you know, there a couple little bops. That would have been like nostalgic.
I was gonna say it was funny because last night that was the first time that Fiznik had heard the Jerome song by Lizzo. So instead of saying Jerome, he kept saying Jarrell, and I was like, don't try to remix it with Jarrell.
Take your ass home.
Look, I was like, don't play. It's too soon. But then like we're laying in bed and we're about to go to sleep, and he goes, wait a minute. I was like, took you far enough. He goes, your middle name is Jerome. I was like, duh, bitch, I've been waiting for you for like the last 3 hours to catch the name of this song as one of my names too. He was like, I love Lizzo. He's like, I love Lizzo now. She got.
That's too.
I was like, you know what? Don't try me.
Oh, he didn't love Lizzo when we was ape shit in Piedmont Park.
Oh no, he loved Lizzo then, but he's like, I like this song now. I was like, don't play. Try the girl.
But you know who wasn't there? R. Kelly and Joycelyn.
See, you know what? Bye.
She finally came around. It said that she got manipulated too. Duh.
Right.
Duh. What the hell you been the last like 5 years?
Right, and we couldn't tell your ass nothing, right?
That you went on like Good Morning America and said, oh no, I love him. He's taking care of me, this and that. He hasn't done anything to manipulate us. We're doing this on our own. Girl, bye.
Man.
She's got to be shopping a bookstore or something.
She's selling her story on Patreon.
Right, the money is running out. And she's realizing that her gravy train that she's been riding along with, because she probably is thinking like, oh, okay, well, you know, I can just ride or die with him and I'm living in this house and blah, 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 and I ain't got to worry about it. Or, you know, I can go out on my own and be back with my family in the projects or whatever. I mean,
because she keeps selling the story piece by piece on her Patreon, because Patreon's the app that you got to pay to see the content of, which we should do our own version, by the way. But so she continues. She's saying that she knows stuff about Aaliyah. She's saying that Robert promised her a career like Aaliyah's and took care of her and shopping sprees and this and that. So of course it's easy to manipulate a person when they want the money and the fame and all that stuff. And then part of me is just like, okay, now you're on this Patreon service trying to get coin because A, you don't have a job and stuff like that. And why should we even care anymore? Like, we already knew what the situation was. We told you what the situation was.
Yeah.
And now you want to monetize off the situation out of nowhere after you've gone through a media spree saying he didn't manipulate you?
And I think that's
Jesse.
what upsets me. I think that's what upsets me, honestly, is the fact that, like, nothing about this seems genuine in the sense of, like, she wants to tell the story to, like, come to terms, come to peace with things, or, like, to help, you know, like, solidify all the accusations and stuff like that. Like, it really just feels like she's doing this for herself, for moves for herself, and nothing more than that. Which, at this case, I'm like, girl, you could have followed him right off the cliff, and I wouldn't have missed you. Like, you were two steps from it anyway, so...
It's craziness. So hopefully some good comes out of it. Hopefully she gets the help that she needs, because to be manipulated for that long, and just from the horror stories that we've talked about earlier in the podcast season, she's gonna need some help. So hopefully she's getting it. But I'm like, once that story came out, we're all like, duh, duh, bye, girl, bye.
Like, who's buying that story? Like, it's not even interesting.
It really isn't. Honestly, it honestly really isn't.
But they did say that since her name is not in any of the current lawsuits, that it could be another lawsuit against him, or a criminal case, honestly, against him, because I guess he started courting her when she was still underage. So it could be another one against him. Bye, R. Kelly.
Oh, my gosh. Can we just put a pin in it already?
I know.
It just seems to keep dragging on and dragging on and dragging on. Like, I'm tired of that. Like, this is like Jussie Smollett. Like, we need to, like, move on.
Fact.
I know.
That's a whole move. That's a whole move.
That is a whole mood.
Speaking of moving on, what about that guy that was that's dating his daughter's ex? Did y'all hear about that story?
The gay dad.
The gay dad.
Wait, so wasn't the gay dad who already had a husband, left his husband for his daughter's ex-husband?
They were one of the first
ex-boyfriend
gay couples in the UK to get married. They've been married for 19 years, 20 years, something like that.
Yeah, like his ex-husband, right, yeah. And they left him for his daughter's boyfriend. And then now it came out last week that they're trying to either have kids or adopt kids or something like that. I'm like, and they all live in the same house still. So the daughter, the husband, the boyfriend all live in the same house.
Cannot.
And I was debating if I was going to share this story. And I'm trying to protect the innocent for how much I share, because I don't know who'd be listening to the podcast. But it reminds me of this situation of people that we know of. I'm trying to watch my words, where this guy was married forever, gay man married to his husband. They break up. He starts dating a girl that was a coworker of his. They end up having a kid together. And now the kid, I'm laughing, but it's so crazy. The kid's godfather is the ex-husband. And they all built a house next door to each other and living happily ever after. I can't make stuff up. This is real life.
I think that's okay.
I'm protecting the innocent because I don't want people to call me out and be like, girl, why you share this story? But it's so crazy, I cannot even make it up.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for the TV show, the TV show to happen, because this is some reality TV that I would like to actually see.
Right.
You know,
it's some messiness that's like, ooh,
messy,
this
good. Messy. Ooh, all I know is it wouldn't be my house. It couldn't be me because I'll be in jail.
We believe it.
I couldn't be the boy. I couldn't be the ex-husband. It couldn't be my daughter. It couldn't be my niece that was the daughter. It couldn't be my cousin that was the daughter. It couldn't be my best friend that was the daughter. No.
That's just too messy for me.
Like, and also, if you're the daughter, I would like also like never ever bring a boyfriend around my dad again. Like never. But like, like no. Like Sharon is not caring. That is not how this works. Okay.
I just don't understand.
Dad, you taught me how to share.
Out of all the people in the entire world that was out there for dating or canoodling or whatever, you have to like go after your daughter's sloppy seconds.
I mean, they say date someone like your father or your mother, right? Took that to a whole new meaning.
Literally. He's still trying to teach that lesson to her, I guess. I don't know.
You know what?
That's a mess.
But like, okay, think about it this way though. Like, so apparently the daughter and the ex, they were dating at some point. They broke up for some reason. So she probably's like, okay, you out of my life forever. I'm out of your life forever. And here he come back for all the holidays, all the Christmases,
No, he live in the house.
Exactly.
Not even come. Like he lives there. He's there at Sunday dinner, Tuesday dinner, Sunday, Monday,
crazy.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Like how do you put your own happiness, quote unquote, your own happiness over like your family relationships? Like how do you navigate? How do you justify that?
These hoes ain't loyal.
Not in my house.
Right. Can't be mine.
I have no words. I don't know how you justify it. So it's just a messy ass world out there, and we just living in it.
I'm glad that shit happens over there.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, I just told you my story of people we know of.
That's still over there.
If I know of, we know, but I'm trying to protect myself and the whole story and all that. Woo, Jesus. But I guess that just brings up a situation where we need to answer a community's question then. Might as well keep the messiness going. So what segment it is? What time is it?
Ask your aunties.
Yes.
Let's see here. Do I have it up? I think I do. So this is quick and simple. So the question is, and we'll keep this person anonymous, why has hot girl summer and cuffing season become an acceptable reason to be a slut when dating?
I'm just going to like hit from the belt. I don't think we need a reason to be a slut. You know, like, I mean, if you're not in a relationship and that's not an option within the context of your relationship, slut it up. Do you, boo? So, I mean, I think it's just cute that there was a name for it. You know, I think there was
we just market it that way.
Exactly. There was some branding attached to it for 2019.
Exactly. So the question almost sounded like a little salty moment. Like it sounded like someone like either shaded you or you were in a relationship and they slept with your daughter's boyfriend.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Because it's like, why give it an acceptable reason to be a slut when dating? This is like, ooh. But
and that assumes that being slut is wrong.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. You know, it's like we can't knock people for living their best life. If that's between his legs, and her legs, go for it. You know, but I mean, if living your best life is keeping yours shut, crisscross applesauce, well then eat up too, then, bitch. You know,
I agree.
Come on, chastity belt.
I think you have to obviously have the emotional maturity to be a slut, like. Because not everyone can handle being a slut. They think they can, and they just don't have the emotional maturity to navigate that.
But we got to stop slut shaming. We also got to stop slut shaming, though. Like, we got to stop.
Absolutely,
we got to stop shaming people for having multiple partners. Hey, I mean, as long as you being safe and as long as you being real and honest, I mean, like,
and it's two consenting adults, or 3 or 4 or 5.
And the reality of it is that you know, like, slut shaming is definitely derogatory. And, you know, we know that we're in a space where the language is changing. We're changing the narrative, and it's really more about being sex positive. And we just have so many hangups, particularly as Americans. We just have so many hangups, sexual hangups, you know, like that are like religiously based and whatnot, that, you know, it prevents us from being able to live like our authentic selves. And what somebody else is doing in the bedroom or, you know, doing outside of the bedroom, as long as they ain't doing it to you, it has nothing to do with you.
Mind your damn business.
You know, work on your grind, work on your job, work on your innards, you know.
I gotta go to work.
But you know, like, work on you. Don't worry about what somebody else is doing, because that's not taken away from your shine.
Right. And fine. I say this a lot. It seems like and it's easier said than done. I get it. Communicate what you want. If you don't want to hang around sluts, don't hang around sluts. You don't want to date a slut, don't date a slut. You know, it's just like you said, it's just like, mind your business. If that's not what you want, then don't search it out. You know, in your dating life. If you want to be more monogamous, state that from the beginning, saying, this is what I define my dating. This is what makes me happy. This is what I want it to look like. If they can't handle it, then they have to out the door and find someone that can handle it the way you want it to be. But don't be slut shaming someone because they're comfortable in what they're doing.
I think that old school way of dating too has shifted now, especially with technology being so prevalent in the dating scene and the dating culture. You know, like, now that you have the internet at your fingertips, it's so much easier to look and find someone or communicate with someone. Whereas, like, 20 years ago, I mean, you were actually physically face to face at a bar talking to someone, sending an email, a letter, you know, on a landline, you know, phone cord, you know, talking about, like, okay, looking people up in the yellow pages and stuff, like in the white pages, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was like just 20 years ago, you know? So if people, for those who are still holding on to that way of thinking, it's going to be a lot harder for you, because that's not where dating is now, you know? And so it's either you're going to have to just come to terms with the way you think isn't how other people think. So you're going to have to just either accept it and move on, or change with the time and just enjoy your life. You know,
what's comfortable for you, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously there's still people that wait till marriage and things like that. Do what works for you at the end of the day, you know, and be comfortable in that. And as comfortable as other people are being comfortable with what they're doing, you know? So I mean, hot girl summer, cuffing season, whatever it is, do you and what makes you comfortable.
I mean, I know some great hoes. I mean, you know, I really do. I really do. You know, and I love them bitches to death. You know, they my ride or die.
I live vicariously through a couple of
them. Okay.
I'm like, ooh, tell me how it was.
Right. You know, and I'm like, shoot, go ahead, girl. Do you good people? Keep it going.
Like, let me see the picture. You know? Let me see the picture.
Sharing is caring right now. Okay.
Sharing is caring, dear.
But if you just limit to yourself to people who are just like you, and I think I said this last week too, you know, if you are just limiting yourself to people who think like you or act like you or just view the world just like you, like, you're missing out on so much, because a lot of people have things to offer, but if you don't give them the chance to show you what they have to offer, you'll never know.
That sounded like the Slim Shady. The best like you, the best like you, the one to be the best like you, whatever you say. But what season are we in now, Jarrell? Remember that episode you laid it out, the time, the map with the calendar? Are we in cuffing season? Are we in cuddle season?
I think it is cuddle season now. Yeah, I think it is cuddle season now. I forget when it
goes through. I think it goes through March. And then March to May,
that's when you bring
your body back right and do the whole hot girl summer again.
I forget which one it is. I'm going to have to find that, because that was hilarious.
Yeah. We need to put that on a calendar. But yeah, so I mean, thanks for sending the question, but I agree. We need to stop the whole hoeing and slut shaming part of it, because I just, a lot of people are just uncomfortable to talk about sexuality. And I get it, because a lot of times we weren't taught it. And we were taught to be ashamed of it, and, you know, so I think some of it stems from that. Like you said, Americans seems to be more uptight about a lot of that stuff than a lot of the rest of the world. Not everyone, because
I also feel like as gay people, the primary models of what relationships look like are hetero relationships, and we so aspire to have those kinds of structures. And I think what you see right now with so many couples exploring, like, polygamy and open relationships and all that other kind of stuff, it's like, those are kind of relationships that are open for exploration because it works for those people. And whether you like it or not, you're not in that relationship, so it doesn't affect you. But I think people have a problem because that's not what the traditional relationships look like in terms of how two people are quote unquote supposed to treat each other. And that doesn't mean that works for everybody. Like, just because you're gay or lesbian or transgender or queer or gender non-binary or whatever or straight doesn't mean that your relationship has to look like this model of what like an ideal relationship is supposed to look like.
Right. And hetero or homo.
Exactly.
Honestly, because a lot of times in the community as well, you feel the pressure to always have an open relationship or polygamy, whatever it might be, poly and things like that. The good thing within it is like you can really redefine what works for you. Right. And you don't have to feel like that pressure is like you were just saying.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Dewan's thinking.
I'm just like, it just boggles my mind that people get so caught up in what other people are doing.
Right.
Like, get so caught up. Like that it affects you to your core. But what you don't realize,
you to your core too.
What you don't realize is that by you allowing that thing that has nothing to do with you affect you to your core, it's preventing you from living your best life. Like that energy that you're spending focusing on what other people are doing, you should be focusing on yourself and what you're doing or what you're not doing, so that you can get the blessings that you deserve.
Ooh, say that again, Jesus. Yes, I felt that one. And it was interesting. I just saw this interview that RuPaul did. I think it was for maybe Vogue on YouTube or something like that, where one of the questions to him, and it was like the most open that I've seen Ru, because a lot of times Ru finds a way to navigate through questions and not really answer a question, or she answers it what she wants to get out of it. She's a seasoned pro at it. But one of the questions was like, you're in an open marriage. Why are you in an open marriage? And his response was, he's like, one thing, why would I limit someone that I care about so deeply? And if that's what they truly came to me and was open enough to say, this is what I need, and I'm telling this person that I cared so deeply and love them, why limit them to whatever's in the world? And then he was like, B, I know in my heart of hearts and my soul of souls that this man loves me. And so we come to a conclusion of what works for us, And it was just interesting that he was that open to discuss that, because a lot of people, especially when it comes to open marriages or open relationships and things like that, there's such a slut shaming almost to it and a negative connotation because it doesn't work for you, but it works for them. And who, like you said, mind your damn business. It doesn't matter what we think at that point. It's not negatively affecting you. So what's the damn thing? So it was just interesting to sit there and hear him say that and say it so publicly, and his rationale for why it works for them. I was like, good job, Ru, because there's still a lot of stigma around that, even within the gay community.
I love that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that they had an open relationship, but I love
me either. That was the first time I heard it too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
And we talk all the time about how representation matters and people need to be able to see themselves. And sometimes you need to see, kind of like someone else living their truth out loud, to have the courage to be able to do it yourself. And it's just, I can imagine how liberating that must be for some other folks who, want to go down that path, or who just never thought of it in that way. And then it becomes an unlock for them, whether they choose to be in a relationship or not.
Right. And that is not about your not loving someone or wanting to love someone else, Right. And it was just interesting just the way he framed it. Mm-hmm. And once again, it's not for everyone. So we're not saying, oh, everyone get in an open relationship. Mm-hmm. No, a lot of people don't have the emotional maturity to do that. Mm-hmm. Or the physical maturity. Like, there's a lot of communication that comes along with it, et cetera, et cetera. But we shouldn't judge other folks because it works for them, is, I guess, my bottom line of it. So thank you for whoever sent that question in. Continue to send your Ask Your Auntie questions. Obviously, we continue to like the segment. It always brings up aspects that, sorry, I have like a little frog in my throat today. It always brings up just different thought processes that, honestly, I've never really had to think about sometimes and be like, what do I really think about this? And what can I give of value, hopefully, to the folks asking this? So continue to do so. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Switching topics a little bit, though, and this is a hard left. I think it's important that we speak on the protests that are happening in Iran right now.
Definitely.
I know
it's messy too.
Yeah,
like,
it's real messy.
Came about.
Yeah, we knew we wanted to talk about this, so we did reach out to someone in the community who is from Iran, and we just, I just asked if he could put something together for us to share with the community. So if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to read it real quick and just share from the perspective of someone from Iran. And he states, the protest started a week ago over the sudden overnight 300% increase in gas prices, which heavily impacted working class people. By the second day, over 100 cities were seeing major ongoing protests whose slogans and demands evolved from just the fuel prices to calling for democracy and the end of religious autocratic rule of government. Within the 3 days of the protest, Amnesty International reported that at least 106 people had been killed by police and security forces during the protests. That's 106 in 3 days. Though the government has always suppressed uprisings in the past 40 years, this was a level of violence people hadn't expected. And on that third day, the government shut down the internet for the entire country and reduced access to the internet to just 4% of normal levels. The intention of the government was to cut off the people's access to the outside world so picture and videos of the crackdown wouldn't make it out. It worked. We didn't hear from family for days and had no idea what was happening inside Iran, besides some scattered, unverified stories. This is a tactic used by other dictatorships such as like Russia, Turkey, Iraq, and China. After about 6 days, the internet has slowly opened back up, thankfully, and as expected, more pics, videos, and information are coming out about the brutal crackdown during those internet blackout days. Thousands of protesters arrested and threatened the families of those who lost people to not say a thing about the incident or to talk to international reporters. Many of them are brave enough to still do so. The government may have temporarily shut down this uprising, but what we know based on the frequency of posts now, almost every month, is that people are fed up and are thirsty for major changes. He then proceeds to say, what I want to tell American friends, what worries me is that Americans haven't had much direct experience with authoritarianism in the near past, so they don't quite grasp the fragility of the democracy. And if you've never experienced it, you don't know what it looks like. My message is, this is what it looks like. Trump's authoritarian tendencies are some of the scariest characteristics. One in the jail people who oppose blow the whistle on him. One in the jail reporters breaking the law on a daily basis. Let's not sleep on this and fight for what we achieved in the U.S. Just imagine if you woke up one day in a total internet blackout. No Facebook, Instagram, Uber, Lyft, no access to online banking, email, etc.
No Pornhub.
Or Pornhub. We really can't afford to take anything for granted these days. These communication methods are such powerful tools. We need to learn how to properly use them. And I just want to say thank you for Danielle to taking the time to give insight on something that we cannot fully understand at all whatsoever. And I think it's important that we stay vigilant and that we make sure that we're paying attention to the news, not just the news that affects us here in America, but affects, our brothers and sisters across the world, because if once things like that start happening there, it increases the chance of it happening in other places too,
Definitely.
So we just got to make sure that we continue to spread the word, pay attention and just be there for one another, especially during situations and times like this.
And the scary thing about this whole thing too, like after just seeing it on the news and reaching out to Danielle, is that I want to say
Danielle. Mm-hmm.
I was just doing a little more research myself too, and the sad thing is a lot of this almost stems from Trump because the government over there is under increasing strain from Trump's administration's policy and the increased sanctions that they're putting on Iran. Mm-hmm. And it's a touchy situation just all around, but it's just like a lot of the sanctions that we're opposing on them is causing a lot of the turmoil that's happening over there.
Absolutely.
And even with Washington officials saying now, we're supporting the protesters, from their viewpoint, I'm sure they're thinking that's freaking hypocritical because you're the one putting all these sanctions on us. We're running out of like gas. We're doing all this, which is causing an uprising, the protesting and things like that as well. Mm-hmm. So yes, that's oversimplified. I agree by myself, but it's just like each move has repercussions, and we're seeing what is happening when things aren't completely thought out from a lot of the stuff within our current administration. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. And like he said, I couldn't imagine not having the internet for multiple days like that. We'd all go insane. Mm-hmm. Like, and we've lived at times when we didn't really have
it's
the
hard
internet.
enough when you go to a concert and you can't send a text message.
You know? Right.
Exactly. It's so frustrating. Let your Wi-Fi go slow some days, and you're like, what is going on?
Exactly.
Right.
So,
but just imagine being in a state of chaos like that and not being able to simply check in with one another, you know, like not being able to know what's going on outside because you have access to nothing to tell you what's happening.
And then the post-traumatic stress that comes from that. That's what a lot of people don't realize. That even like I preach it even in our like communities here in America is like people be like, oh, why do they act like this? And why is it a continuous cycle? A lot of times the post-traumatic stress from these situations is never dealt with because people are demeaning you. People are looking down on you saying, oh, why can't you do this? Oh, why can't you just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and this like that? It's not that easy because it's deeper than that. So hopefully we could send some sympathy, some empathy towards other communities around the world to be like, what we do here in America does affect a lot of places.
Absolutely.
So to be aware of that. So sorry, let me get off my soapbox there. But it's frustrating and it's sad because if I feel like helpless here, golly, what are they feeling?
Yeah.
You know?
I just can't even come close to just imagining. Like literally only empathy is the only thing that I can give because it's just like I feel almost disrespectful trying to say I can imagine or I get it or saying I understand, like because we really don't. We just don't. Not ever.
So all we could do is shine light on this and make more folks aware of what's going on, and hopefully hits the right people, the right ears, and we can all band together to be able to do something, send aid, send whatever it may be to help those folks. So
I'll keep a lookout to see if there are anything that we can share as far as like how to help, whether it's writing a certain congressman or people or whomever, or if there's any type of like organizations that we can donate things to for like relief, et cetera, like that, or just assistance. I shouldn't say relief, but just like assistance. Like just to let people know that there's ways that you can just, if you want to do something small,
Yeah, I agree. And then even yesterday here, I guess for another kind of big thing is yesterday was even WorldAIdsDay, WorldAIdsDay.
Yep.
And I saw an article recently as well. I think it might have been on out.com that shows a lot of millennials. It was like something crazy, like 24% of millennials won't even like shake someone's hand that has HIV or take a sip out of their cup, or like it was just like, or give them a hug. And I'm like, are we still that ignorant and naive to the fact that A, you can't transmit it that way, and then B, oh, you're not going to hug someone with HIV, but you're going to go kiss somebody that got herpes, or there's just so many other STIs and things like that that I'm like, HIV almost at this point is like treatable, and you're able to keep your viral load undetectable and things like that, but there's other STIs and diseases out there that we can't control, and so it was weird to read that article. So we still need to be vocal and speak out about AIDS and HIV because there's still a lot of stigmas and a lot of misinformation out there that people don't know. So millennials, I mean, that age group is like 23 to 36 years old. So it's not like these people are like baby boomers or anything. Like, so we need to put it in school systems. We need to teach this. We need to teach what happened and what has come out of it, and the protections that we can do, serious protections of not hugging people. That's ridiculous. But medicines that are out there, and how do you transmit it, and how is it transmitted, and how can, we need to put all this information out there. And, so community, if you know better ways of making sure we spread the right message, let us know, because we need to teach our community within our community, and then we also need to teach outside of our community. Because to read that article, I was like, wow, that's heartbreaking that a quarter of the millennials are still thinking this way.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's real crazy.
is really crazy. And then it even said within the POC communities, it's upwards of 30+% of millennials are saying, I don't even want to shake someone's hand that is HIV positive. What? What?
That's just so irritating.
It's so irritating. It's so I was so irate and upset about it because and maybe that was me being naive that I thought we had progressed a little more than that.
But we had that conversation. I want to say in July. I think one of the Ask Your Aunties was revolving around like, when do you disclose your status?
Right.
And we talked about like the importance of sharing information and making sure that we share the correct information and we're updating and educating each other because that stigma is real, and it's crazy the fact that people think that just because you have HIV AIDS, you're not going to live a long life. Like,
these people are out
living regular ass people who are negative.
Exactly.
Like, come on now, like.
It is so manageable. And it's not to say that it's easy to live with it, but it's manageable now.
Absolutely.
And so just to hear, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. But we wanted to make sure that we put that out there still. And we're supporting World AIDS Day. And that's
know your status.
Exactly. Exactly. Get tested.
Status.
Make sure you're getting tested, especially if you're slutting. Get tested. Be responsible slut.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. And I think we got one more little segment we want to try to do for the rest of the year, which is like a best of 2019 or best of the decade.
Yeah.
Best of the decade.
Yes.
So we're like, okay, the year's winding down. So we're like, okay, we do a couple bests of the year and things like that. Then we're like, oh, damn, hold on. The decade is winding down. We're about to go into a new decade. So we're like, okay, over the last few episodes of 2019, why not kind of do a little decade play of, okay, best songs, best movies, our mindsets changes and things like that. So I think this episode we'll probably do something like, okay, the biggest differences of Jarrell, DeJuan, and Carell in 2009 compared to 2019, the things we've learned, the things we've been through. I don't know. It's kind of off the cuff this episode. Usually we think about it a little more, but this one we're like, okay, what comes up bubbling instantly when we say the decade that's been the 2010s? What comes to mind for you?
For me, it'll be three things. The first one is going to be meeting my two best friends, David and Paul. Like, they have taught me so much about character growth and just also not even just taught me, but like allow me to fail without judgment and then continue to love and support me. I met both of them in 2019. Basically in 2009. Actually, no, I met Z in 2007. But during that 2009 to now, they have been the two people in my life that have just been rocks. They have not moved, not one bit. They have not switched up, changed, or anything of the sort like that. And so, like, just knowing that the importance of having those type of friendships and what they can bring to your life, that's one of them. The second would be becoming a godfather. My first nephew being born, like just being there in the room and just having someone who just looks up to me and the way that he does. He's not my kid, but God, you would think he's my kid. Like, he's a little Jarrell. It's to the point that my mom calls him Jarrell because he's so much like me. And my sister literally...
he be popping off?
Like, so much like me. So much like me. And my sister will be even like, come get your child. Like, she says, I just carried him. It's your child. I just carried him,
That's too funny.
But I grew up a lot faster, I feel like, because I knew that he was going to look up to me in the way that he does. And so I now make smarter decisions and I think before I speak sometimes more because I know that part of the consequences of my actions would be teaching him something negative if I don't think, And then the final thing is just I learned to love myself this decade. And I love to love myself specifically as a Black gay man. You know, not just a black man or as a gay man, but as a black gay man. I think that's the biggest thing that I learned. And I think what I learned about it is like, I need to surround myself with more people like me who are POC and queer. And two, to not get caught up in being in white spaces, you know, to not let those situations wear on my tear as far as feeling alone and not having that representation. As long as I make sure I balance myself by surrounding myself with queer POC people, I'm rejuvenated. So I think those would be my three.
It's interesting thinking about it. The word that kind of comes up in my mind is change.
Mm-hmm.
Because 2009, I was still living in Indiana. I wasn't out. I was still struggling so mightily with myself, like heavily. And since then, so 2009 to 2019, I've lived in Indiana. I've lived in Chicago. I've lived in Dallas. And I've lived in Atlanta. So it's just like so much that's changed in just 10 years that like, you don't really see it when you're going through it. But then when you just actually stop and pause for a second, you're like, whoa. There's been a lot of change. And I remember beginning of 2009, one of my best friends committed suicide as well. And so to end that decade on that note, and to begin 2010, I was just like, God, I don't want to go through another year, even though I went through a couple, but just another decade struggling with myself. And it's not to say there's still moments where I still like, residual damage. I almost call it collateral damage of putting yourself through that for so long. But I would say that's probably the biggest thing for me in this decade was change and coming to love myself, like you said, finding love, finding friends, and keeping old friends, but then just really finding a group of gay friends that I never had before and feel like I could finally be myself. Mm-hmm. And then even ending this decade with a podcast where I'm talking about being gay all the time, talking about people sitting on my face and probably sharing too much, but finally being comfortable to say this, you know? And so I would say that's probably the biggest thing for me this decade was just change, because it's just city-wise. Like, it's just wild to think how much could happen in a decade, and it goes like that. But then you take a moment to look back and you're like, wow, that was a while ago, though. You know?
For real.
Gain a few pounds, that's probably another change. But yeah, just to think from 25 to 35, the growth I've had. And then even to think like 20 years in this decade now almost, coming from like 15 to 35. And it's cool just to see each decade how much you can grow. So I'm excited to see what 35 to 45 is going to look like and feel like, and the lessons I learn and the experiences I go through, and the more being comfortable with who I am and things like that. Like it excites me because it just shows if you put the work in, you're going to get some growth. And if you put the trust in the process, it's going to be there. It sucks going through it day in, day out sometimes, but you're able to look back after 10 years and be like, that's why I went through that, or I'm not popping off as much, or I'm not doing whatever it may be. It's cool to go through that. So
absolutely,
it's been awesome. So 10 years goes like that, but it doesn't go like that at the same time.
And what about you, Duane?
My mind keeps going back to a couple of things. Like January 2009 was the inauguration of Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. So like 10 years ago, I saw the first Black president. We all saw the first Black president. And, you know, as a, you know, Black man first, that was just like something I didn't think I would see. It didn't ever cross my mind.
I never even allowed myself. Right. I never let myself go there. Mm-mm. That's the crazy thing. Mm-mm. Before that point.
And I remember like those first couple of months, you know, of like his swearing in ceremony, and like every time you see him I saw him on television, I remember bracing myself because I was afraid that he was going to be assassinated or whatever.
Yes,
like I remember that viscerally. So, you know, as you guys were talking, and and sharing your, your memories and things, I was thinking about like how that was like the inauguration and, my entry into like these last 10 years. And then I started thinking about
and
like,
then now we're ending the decade
right.
with this president.
How do we go from
change, boo,
how do we go from excellence to like Piggly Wiggly and oh my goodness. But no, but like on a personal note, I think the thing that that struck out for me is that I bet on myself a lot in the last 10 years. A lot. I too have moved around a lot. I was in Columbus in 2009, moved to Chicago in 2011, moved to Pittsburgh in 2016, moved to New York in 2018. Wait, is that right? No.
17. The fall 17. Of 17. I remember that. There were job changes, relationship changes, being single, being in a relationship. I had friends come in and out of my life, people that like I adore, absolutely adore. And when I think about like the theme, it was really just betting on myself. And I don't want this to come off as like being self-centered or whatever, because it's just like, I know that there are things that are greater than like yourself, but I also think that the older that I get, the more that I realize that I have to start making, and I am start making choices based off of what my needs are instead of based on like what I think others think I should have or that I should be doing. I know that didn't come out eloquently, so I apologize, but I think the idea was that I was living more for myself than living for others. That's what I'm trying to say. And so like every step that was made, there was a lesson, there was growth, there were mistakes, there was all that stuff. But, there was like this theme of like betting on, myself, betting on my future, betting on, my happiness, betting on all those things. And what's cool about it is, it's opened the door for, like you guys to come into my life. I'm so grateful for that. I think about like some of my best friends who ironically, like we're all within like the same friend network, which is weird.
So weird. Wild.
I was literally sitting on the couch like the other day thinking like, I was on Facebook and I saw like Z and Carell like commenting on us being like and I'm like, that's my best friend David and my good Judy Carell. I'm like, they've never met, but like just seeing like two people that mean so much to me like interact, and it's just like my circles are starting to blend in together. Exactly. It's just like,
and then I saw that you and Joan ended up going to like the Hasbro house or something.
Huh? Oh,
no, I'm thinking of Fisnick. Fisnick and Joan went to like a thing together, but like the fact that our lives are so like intertwined. It's just it's just interesting like how the universe works.
Absolutely.
So, like
it gives you what you need even when you don't understand you needed it and when you needed it.
I think that's the trick. Like I remember somebody asked me at one point, do you have any regrets? And I can't remember like the full context of it or whatever. We were just like talking and I said, I don't think so. No, because for all the mistakes that I made, there were things that I learned from it that made me into the person I am today. So to have a regret would mean that I would not, if I had to do it over, yes, you don't want to hurt people, so you would choose to do different things, but that may result in you being, having a completely different kind of experience. And so
exactly,
it's like, it's not to say that I would want to repeat the same kind of mistakes, because obviously if you know better, you do better. But I also don't look back.
Right.
Not everybody.
In theory, yes.
Right. In theory. But like, I do feel like, like I can appreciate the growth that one has out of recognizing that, you're not always right. You don't always make the right choices, but you can learn from those. And even though that doesn't change what happened back then, it allows you to make better choices going into the future.
Yeah. And I agree. Like, I don't have any regrets. And like you said, if I regretted anything, then that means I would be changing things, which means everything that I just probably said I enjoyed may not have happened, you know.
Exactly.
But I appreciate all of the lessons that I've learned over the last 10 years because, you know, knowledge is power. And I'm a big fan of like if you know something, you know, use it to your advantage and do better moving forward. Otherwise, you know, you're just in a cycle that's unhealthy for yourself. You know, I'm not perfect. And I know I'm not perfect because I can look at myself 10 years ago and be like, ooh,
Right, exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
fighting people in the bathroom at a gay bar probably wasn't the best thing you didn't do. And like,
I know someone
you know, like
texted us or
something.
DM'd us. He's like, he really strangled somebody with a lanyard?
Yep, sure did. Sure did. I mean, like, I even stomped in an ex's windshield when I caught him cheating on me one time. Like, I
Ooh,
mean, like,
girl.
I'm telling you, like, Jarrell 10 years ago is completely different than Jarrell today. But again, like, you know, I had to learn, and I'm grateful for the people that came in my life to teach me to not give people power to make you react in ways. You know, I think that's probably another lesson that I learned because I was just so reactive and just being mad at everyone else. I'm like, well, I'm letting you get to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one lesson, and it's probably even been in recent times that I've learned too, is just like to let people love you. You know, give them the opportunity because sometimes, especially coming out and things like that, you fear the worst. And once you come out, you kind of almost see the good in humanity. Be like, wow, they actually do care about me, or they just care for Carell just because he's Carell and he's a good person, this and that, and they don't care about the gay part, you know. And that's probably a big lesson I learned. That it's just like I felt like I could control the narrative so much, and once I let go of that and just let them see me for me and not just 90% of me, because they saw me, but there was just certain aspects that I would not allow them to see, you know, controlling that narrative. But now that you open yourself up, you open up this yourself to let people show, no, I could love you completely, Carell.
Yeah.
You know?
And see, for me, it's kind of a little bit of the opposite. For me, it was more so like to stop letting people choose what parts of me they want to accept and love. You know, like
that's a good one too.
I mean, that was something that I was being okay with, like, oh, well, they like this part about me, so that's cool. But then, like, would find out that they didn't like this, or were talking about me about something else, or the source. I'm like, no, either you rock with all of me, or you rock with none of me. You know, and I think that was one of the things on the other side of that coin. You know, I didn't want to control the narrative, but I was just letting people do what they want, basically.
Yeah. You were letting them control your narrative.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this got deeper than I thought.
We started off talking about cereal and got into life lessons by the end. Come on, my
But you know,
Angelou.
it gives them insight to who we were and who we are and where we want to go, you know, and things like that. So I like that you said you bet on yourself like that. I think for my next decade,
I was just thinking the same thing. That's gonna be mine.
I want to do more of, because I've always been one that I know I'm good at certain things and like that, but won't completely let my light shine because I feel like I'm either stepping on their toes or micromanaging something. And be like, no, why wouldn't I speak up to let something be the greatest it could be, or the skill set that I have, or whatever? And that's what I want to do in this next decade, is not feel ashamed of my gifts, talent, skills, but still be open to learning and things like that, and come off in a manner that you don't have to demean their light either, which I think I'm good at. But I think in the process of keeping their light shining sometimes, I demean my own because I don't want to ruffle the feathers and things like that, or I think it's going to come off a negative way or something like that. So I like that banking on yourself part. It's just like, feel confident in what you have to offer to the world.
Yeah, and that's what's the same for me too.
Yeah, see, I was 33 and I went 2009, and now I'm 43. So you know, I feel
you don't look it though.
You look good, girl.
Yes. But like, I do feel like the older that, like, I'm one of those people that getting older, I love getting older because that's wisdom you're wearing. That's experience that you're wearing. That's love that you're wearing. That's getting deeper and deeper every single year. And like, Like I don't get hung up on the whole, like, you know, like I'm not chasing youth. You know, I give into like, you know, what I have, just like I'm giving into these sweatpants, you know, like, like it's just
these elastic waistbands.
Yeah, it's like I'm just giving in, not giving up. And so I think I think like the idea, like I was just I'm moving into a different stage in my life. You know, like moving into my 40s.
53-year-old Dewan to hear from you now?
My idea, you know,
or
like how,
advice or whatever.
You know how like when you talk to like a real old person that they just don't give two shits about nothing but whatever. You know, like that's my aspiration. Like I want to get to a point where like, you know, like even the things that are important to me right now, like, you know, like how I live, the trips that I go on, like that's still important to me. And I'm looking forward to getting into like my 80s and 90s and being, you know, sassy and, you know, wiry and, you know, like
with your elastic waistbands and your Velcro shoes.
Eat my oatmeal, bitch.
I know. I can't wait. I mean, I can wait, but I can't also wait just to be a gay black man at like 87.
Yes.
And hopefully all my crew is still around and what that looks and sounds like. Like, I think that's going to be incredible. Like the gay men that's on, I don't know what channel it is on YouTube, but they have like a collection of 4 gay older men. And they either react to like new slang or they dress up for Halloween or things like that. And some of them are in like their 70s, late 70s. And it's so cute to see their interaction amongst each other.
I need to see
I'll send it to you guys. I'll post it for the community too, for those that haven't seen it. A lot of people have because like they've blown up now in this year because every video they do is so adorable. And then hear also their stories of coming out in like the 50s and 60s and shit like that. Or I guess, I don't know if that's the right age, 70s, whatever, how old, you know. But it's cute. So like I can't wait for that experience as well.
Yeah. I think it's going to be really different. Really, really different for us, because we're on the tail end of gay liberation in a sense, but now we're in LGBTQ plus integration. And so it'll just look really, really different.
And then you'll be able to buy like some new elbows at Walmart and a new kneecap at Target. So, you know,
you'll be able to print your own, you know, like prosthesis.
3D print your own leg. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, just to see the advances of self-care and technology.
Sending us like mental text messages of like, oh girl, you see this fleshlight I just built?
Ooh. I know, like I listen back, and we're on a side tangent, but I listen back to some of these podcasts. And I'm like, they probably just think I'm just so nasty. A lot of times I just say stuff to be funny, like they just throw it out there, like Pornhub and something, like because you're thinking it. Everybody's thinking it. Might as well say it. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm that nasty. I mean, here and there, but hey, I'm married now. I can do what I want to do. Now y'all can't say nothing.
But Corey can, and I bet you he's saying something now.
Right.
Say again.
I said, but Corey can, and I bet you he's saying something now.
That's true. You ain't never lied. But Corey crazy too. Corey just as nasty crazy too. That's why we get along. Corey, you think I don't even push lines? Corey pushes lines and boundaries and steps over them just to see what your reaction gonna be. Like, did you hear what I just said? Did you hear me?
But for him, we wouldn't have been in that strip joint on your the day after your wedding.
Exactly.
In Puerto Vallarta.
And I was A-okay with it. I was like, okay, boo, let's go, boo. Even if they don't want to go, I got you, girl.
I remember when you tapped that one stripper on his chest, like, okay, bye. It's like,
I was like, you are like, you're trying to like gyrate on my leg, and this is not it. This is not hot. I was like, you can go now. Thank you.
Tap, tap.
It was like a little pity tap. Oh, well. But anyway, community. So the next couple episodes, we'll continue to do this. Just discussions of the decade, discussion of the year. Some of it will get into songs, movies, top moments of the decade. We haven't even gotten to that. Pop culture moments and things like that. So if there's some that you think of, let us know. Hit us up on DMs and everything. And we'll share those and give our reactions to that as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's the holiday season. So Merry Christmas early. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. What's another one? I don't know.
Chinese New Year.
Exactly. So yeah, it's the holiday spirit. So we haven't even talked about like our favorite Christmas songs or nothing like that. We got a lot to talk about.
Oh, we do. That could be next week. Oh, Christmas songs. Yeah.
Exactly. Because there's like must. So maybe, okay, so we got to do a Spotify playlist for the end of the year, maybe a decade playlist, a Christmas playlist. We got a lot of playlists that we need help with, community.
Yeah, well, y'all send us the songs. We'll sort it out on the tail.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So please download, share, subscribe, share with your aunties. You know what? Here's what you could do. Give them the gift of Minority Report for the holidays.
Oh, I like that.
You know what? This is my favorite podcast.
Yes.
You can wrap it up in a bow. It's free. It's wherever they listen to their podcast and streaming already. So they're already paying for Spotify or something. And you don't even need to pay for Spotify. You just look under the podcast section, look under the podcast section of Apple, and be like, you know what? This is my gift to you. It's a great podcast. How does that sound?
That's dope. I love that.
The gift of love of Minority Report and your aunties. So anyway, but we appreciate you guys and making 2019 successful for us, honestly. And
a great way to end the decade. Yeah, a great way to end the decade was just doing this with you guys and then having you, the community, just to keep us afloat. And we appreciate it. I appreciate it so much.
Same here. So, all right. Well, enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.
Love y'all.